In the ever-evolving world of digital fame, where the loudest voices and boldest personalities often dominate the spotlight, one name has carved a space for herself with elegance, strength, and defiance: Gracie Bon. Not just an influencer, and more than a model, she is a symbol of resilience in a world that too often tries to shrink people into narrow definitions of beauty. Gracie Bon's rise to prominence is not a tale of overnight virality, but a journey through self-doubt, transformation, and empowerment. An odyssey, from rejection to reinvention. Born and raised in Panama, a country rich with culture and contrasts, Gracie emerged from humble beginnings to become one of the most talked-about plus-size influencers on the internet. But her story is much deeper than follower counts and fashion endorsements. It's the story of a woman who fought for self-acceptance in a world that once mocked her for existing outside the standard mold. It is the story of how one young woman redefined herself, and in doing so, helped redefine beauty for a generation. Gracie Bon's childhood was shaped by the vibrant streets and bustling neighborhoods of Panama. She was born in 1997, in a community where family bonds were strong, traditions were honored, and self-expression came in many forms. Surrounded by the rhythm of Afro-Latin music, the aromas of Caribbean cuisine, and the stories passed down through generations, her early years were filled with color and complexity. But like many girls growing up with bodies that didn't mirror the skinny ideals promoted on television or magazines, Gracie began noticing the weight of society's gaze early on. From a young age, she was different. Taller than her classmates, with fuller features and a body that was the target of teasing and ridicule. School was often a place of discomfort. While others shared clothes or swapped compliments, she endured whispered jokes and disapproving looks. Her family, though supportive, didn't always understand the emotional weight she carried. In communities where resilience was expected and emotional struggles were not often discussed, Gracie had to internalize much of her pain. She learned to smile through discomfort, laugh off insults, and pretend that the cruel nicknames didn't hurt. But they did. Still, even amidst the discomfort, Gracie developed a sharp sense of self-awareness. She knew deep down that her worth extended beyond appearance. Though she lacked the confidence to embrace it then, the seed of defiance was already planted. By the time Gracie reached adolescence, her body had continued to grow in ways that made her more visible and more criticized. The cruelty of teenage judgment reached its peak during these years. Whether it was in gym class, the school cafeteria, or social media, Gracie was constantly reminded that she didn't fit the mold. Strangers felt entitled to comment on her size. Peers used her as a punchline. The emotional toll was heavy. Behind her smiles were long nights of self-doubt, loneliness, and anxiety. She avoided mirrors, shied away from photos, and felt ashamed of clothes that clung too tightly. Even the simplest pleasures, going to the beach, shopping with friends, became battles between wanting to belong and fearing judgment. This period of her life could have broken her. For many, the damage inflicted by society's narrow standards can last a lifetime. But Gracie had something that set her apart, a stubborn fire that refused to go out. She began reading books on self-worth and watching videos of women who dared to live out loud. Slowly, quietly, she began to reframe her understanding of beauty. At 21, Gracie stood at a crossroads. After years of emotional struggle, she found herself weighing over 300 pounds and suffering from physical symptoms related to weight and stress. A doctor's visit confirmed what she feared. Her health was declining. But rather than spiraling further, that moment became the turning point. She didn't want to shrink herself. She didn't want to erase her curves or conform to societal pressure. What she wanted was to own her body, fully, unapologetically, healthily, and so began her transformation. Not one focused on weight loss, but on self-love. She began incorporating healthier habits, not to become thin, but to become strong. She practiced affirmations in the mirror, choosing to see beauty where she once saw flaws. She started posting selfies online, celebrating her curves instead of hiding them. And slowly, the comments started changing. What began as anonymous likes became words of support from women who saw themselves in her story. And what began as a timid declaration of self-love grew into a movement. In 2014, Gracie took a bold step and opened her Instagram account. With just a few followers and no major strategy, she began sharing images of herself. Unfiltered, confident, glowing. At first, the response was mixed. The internet, as always, had its critics. But the